Well guys, it's been a wild ride, but our season is basically done. The whole journey this year, doing the Shed Wars competition, has really changed almost like our attitude and core of how we approach things, how we do things, and how we're going to continue to do things in the future. So for example, it's forced us to pay attention to actually how much food we are bringing into the house, how much food we're collecting, how much food we actually eat, how much food we need for ourselves, how much food we go through. It's forced us to really be accountable to ourselves, and it's forced us to actually make sure we're preserving that food that comes into our house. Before in the past, you lose a few tomatoes or you lose something and you don't really pay too much attention to it because there's more that you can do, or you can get some in the grocery store. But when you're trying to be as self-sufficient as possible and also compete where weight is on the line, you really start to focus in on that and make sure you're doing everything in your ability to preserve it, harvest it, and be able to utilize it. Something else that's forced us to do is really be aware of everything we're taking into the house and not letting any of it go to waste. Kind of on the same lines as the other stuff, but for example, the bones from the pigs and cows, the fat from the pigs. So we've been using the bones for making broth. We've made quite a bit of broth this year, which we never have in the past. We've saved a bunch of those bones as well for dog bones, so we don't have to go to the store and get dog toys and treats. We can just give them a bone from out of the freezer. We've collected all the lard from the pigs this year, so that will keep us going for all the soap we want to make now, probably until next year. Shed Wars has also made us look at our meal variety. Because of the amount of food we're bringing in now from not only the meat, but the vegetables as well, we've had to change up our meals just so we don't get bored with the same thing we've done all the time. It's also made us look at food opportunities. Because foraging and hunting was a big part of the competition as well, getting food, we did a lot of foraging this year. Basically all the berries, the blueberries, the blackberries, wild berries. We did more of that this year than we have in the past years, and we really took that opportunity to do our best at it. Along with the foraging for berries and food, we also started foraging a lot of other plants, medicinal plants, and began to research their use so we can use them going forward instead of store-bought remedies and medicinal items. So as much as there was a lot of good, there was negative as well, in the sense that when we both have full-time jobs, we're both trying to maintain and improve this homestead so we can become self-sufficient. So it takes a lot of work doing that. We've got the 3 boys as well that we look after. We're trying to improve our YouTube channel, and then as well to work on Shed Wars as well. It's a lot of work. So there's times that we didn't put out the videos we wanted to, but we also neglected the greenhouse in some cases. So in the last few weeks, I had to travel for a week for work. We had 8 pigs to harvest. We had our baby Highland cow born. So things like the garden, the greenhouse, they didn't get watered. The greenhouse kind of started dying off. And we didn't give everything the full attention we could. In neglecting some of the things, the house is also a disaster. But we don't have the garden to look after this winter. We don't have as much on our plate, the projects to do, so we'll be able to clean up the house then. One area though we haven't been able to take advantage of either is the hunting. We don't start deer hunting for another 2-3 weeks. So we haven't had that opportunity. We haven't got out to do any grouse hunting, so we've missed that opportunity as well. We might try to, just to finish up the season, to get some grouse. I believe the season's open now, but we'll have to see. So this long bed right here with the cattle panel, we have it on both sides. This bed is what produced our green beans. It worked out phenomenally for us this year. You can see here back in the potato bed, there's still some tomatoes that we might be able to salvage, but we're tired. So we'll see what we can do with this. So here we have a leek and onion bed that was kind of neglected. They didn't grow up that high. Here's another bed of leeks. This one got planted late, so we're actually going to leave this and see if they're going to survive the winter and come back next year. Here's our bed that we did the beets in, and as you can see, we actually haven't touched this. We haven't pulled anything out. It was just a failure, big time. We still got some thyme here though, which is awesome. It looks like we have one carrot. We have some leeks here that have seen much better days. We're going to try and salvage some of these. Our cucumber didn't really do anything. Our salad, our beets. We've got our St. Anne's shallots that we planted and are doing amazing. We got them from Mallory over at Quebec Homestead, so that's worked out great. We still have this entire bed of green onions, and there's also some garlic in here, and I think they're like the walking garlic. We got to figure out this bed. We got to try and harvest some green onions too. We just don't know what to do with them. I usually grab one or something, or chives for an omelet, or we'll use some in the stir fry, but to preserve green onions, I actually got to take a look and see what we can do there. So as you can see in the greenhouse, things aren't looking too bad now. We've had a few waterings, but you can tell they've seen the better days. One of the neat things though is, I don't know if you can see this, but all the tomatoes now are blooming again. We are October 23rd now, and in the greenhouse here with the tomatoes, we're starting to get some more blooms. That's really cool to see. I don't know if they'll survive or be able to make some tomatoes. We'll have to see how it goes. This winter with the greenhouse, it's really going to be kind of experimental to see what happens in here. It'll be our first winter with stuff growing. So, some of the highlights from growing this year, the greenhouse has really helped out a lot, as well as outside doing some constructive things to add more space, add more fertility, growing vertically instead of trying to grow everything on the ground horizontally. Some of the weights that we got this year, 53 pounds in green beans, 14 pounds in foraged blueberries, 13 pounds in onions, 8+ pounds in bell peppers. We've never been able to grow peppers here before, but now we have since we've got the greenhouse. So that was very, very cool. 158 pounds of potatoes. They always do well for us in this location. 15 pounds of tomatoes. We were expecting a lot more from the tomato plants we planted, so next year we're going to have to do it a lot differently. We got a lot of other food as well that herbs that we've used in cooking, the carrots, kohlrabi, that sort of thing. It just wasn't a huge amount of weight. Some of the things we really failed on was squash. We planted a whole bunch of squash plants. They did nothing for us. Our apple, pear, and plum trees failed to produce anything. We had a really early spring. All the plants bloomed early, but the pollinators were not out yet. So nothing here got pollinated. A friend of ours on the other side of town, he has an apple orchard. He had one tree out of, I think, like 100 that got pollinated. So it was a really bad year for that around this area. Cauliflower and broccoli. We didn't get anything either out of those. We tried the broccoli and cauliflower in the greenhouse. It just grew instead of actually producing anything. Outside, it didn't get enough time to grow up to what we wanted. Zero beets. Beets just totally failed for us this year. We didn't get anything. I don't know what happened with this garden, but it just didn't produce anything. And last year we had a huge crop of, I think it was carrots that were in there. In the meat, which we kind of excelled on, is 126 pounds of chickens, 93 pounds of eggs, 214 pounds of beef from our Highland cow, 82 pounds of honey, not really meat, but it's animals, so you can't grow honey in a garden. 128 pounds of pork from our 2 pigs, 36 pounds of rabbits. So that was, we actually came to a total so far of 968 pounds of food that we can consume. So for us, it was actually an amazing year. We did so much more than we have in the past years that we're really looking forward to next year and seeing what we can do for ourselves to be able to provide even more of our own food. So thanks guys for checking this out. Hope you like this, and we'll keep you posted on if we break that 1,000 pounds with everything we can scrounge up here or not. So thanks again guys, love ya.